Hi, and welcome to step number 4 of the SAP process. This is called the action plan. It's called that because this is where we need to decide what's going to happen, who's going to do it, and when is it going to happen by. This is a very important step. It helps us stay accountable, and it helps us stay on track to get things done and make things happen for the student.
So let's take a look at the action plan section, and let's step back a little bit and not forget the UDL things that we identified. Is there anything we need to do to support you all in moving forward with doing some work around those 3 UDL guidelines that we identified?
Well, because this is kind of new to me, I think I probably could use support in learning all those features that are involved in electronic text. So yeah, that might be really, really helpful.
So Colleen, I can come on out. I can help support not only yourself, but any other team members that really want to dive a little bit deeper into the UDL supports that we've kind of talked about.
That'd be great.
And then I can help you with the accessibility to the digital text through Bookshare. And then also looking at, Brian mentioned next semester, making sure that we have those books ahead of time. So I can work with the teachers now who have him and get those books uploaded and show you and show him how to access it through Bookshare. And then also for the future, just work with you as you decide what his classes are and get those textbooks and even literacy books. They don't have to necessarily be textbooks, any literature that you want to. We can start looking at there's a couple different options.
That would be really great.
Can I ask a question about Bookshare? Are the math textbooks on Bookshare as well?
Yeah, unless you know otherwise, Mo, we've had the math textbooks on there too. Just depends. I'm gonna say the illustrations. Sometimes if there's illustrations, sometimes those are a little bit harder to read. But if he needs the audio part, he can have that. Plus, he can have the textbook there with him, so he can hear it, but also have the book that he can look at. So you can combine the two.
So the other thing we might want to just take a look at now is just some of the PLC trainings that might need to happen. We've talked about Bookshare, we've talked about some math supports. Definitely Read and Write needs to have some training going on to make sure the team feels comfortable. And not only that, but John needs to feel comfortable and what kind of tools are there. So as we, start next month, let me know when teams are available, and I can plan some PLC time to come out. Okay, let's delve in and talk about some of those need to explore items that we talked about, and see if we can make those work for him. That included making worksheets and including the math worksheets, how to make those accessible. Maureen, do you want to work with Cynthia on that specifically? Yeah, I'd love to come out. I can work with Cynthia right on that Read and Write, and we can look at some of those PDFs and how to annotate them.
And you can show her the DOM equation.
Yes, we can explore that and see which is a good fit for him.
I'm thinking for, we talked about using the word prediction support that comes within Read and Write, but I'm thinking that might be something that we do more under a trial for him, because sometimes it works for kids, sometimes it doesn't. It's really one of those things you can't say with any certainty that they're going to adapt to and it's going to be the right support for them. So it may take picking an assignment that's a longer assignment, for example, and having John do that assignment with it as a support, and then having him kind of give us some feedback on how that helped or how that didn't help, and what his perceptions of look at, what his paper quality is like without that tool versus using the tool. So Colleen, would that be something you'd be willing to kind of pilot on an upcoming assignment that he might have?
Yes, as I'm thinking, we have a book report coming up, so I think that would be a great way to try it out and see if it helps. And I've got past book reports, so we can kind of see how he does with it and compare the two. And I think it's a good activity to see.
Yep. We'll be working on that in study skills, so I'd definitely like to be involved too.
Okay, great.
So
that sounds like something that we have two people that will be collaborating, and maybe we need to set up some time with Maureen also to kind of give you a tutorial on how to use that word prediction feature and some ideas about how to collect data as you go along through that process. Okay. We've made some great plans. I think we've touched on everything. Is there anything we have missed in that action plan, Brian?
Well, actually, John does have an IEP coming up in a few months, and we're trying out some of the more John-specific tools. I need to make sure that we're ready to make any proposals of things to add to his IEP for assistive technology or accommodations. So I'll give his mom a heads up and that we're doing some explorations, some trials, and we'll have some ideas to share at the IEP in February.
Great. So we'll make sure to make a note in here that we're going to document what's working for him and do that in time for Brian to include that in his IEP. Great work, team. I think we have a very robust plan, but with some really parts that we can hold on to and maybe get implemented and do well and come back at a later time after you've exhausted these.
Well, thanks for your help.
It may
Mel.
take you some
Thank
time,
you.
but
This has been
Thank you so much
super
for coming
helpful.
out.
great.
Yes.
Thanks for your time.